What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Beats Cool. My name's Liam. Today we're going to be going over a couple things about piano, and it may relate very closely to lots and lots of instruments that you're using. Trouble with EQing. Trouble with EQing may start off, honestly, in your leveling, in your velocity, and in your sustain. So those levels are extremely important. If you try to move on to actually EQing and mixing without checking those first, then you're asking for trouble. It took me a long time to actually realize all this stuff in depth. And even though I was looking and looking and looking, nobody was able to really give me the information I needed. So let's get right to it. I have Mini Grand loaded up. It's put out by Air Instruments, really, really cool instruments. I'm going to load a meter on top of it to make sure that my leveling is good. If you don't have a meter, I suggest you get one that takes up low CPU. You'll be able to use it a lot. You're going to want to use it a lot. That's a for sure. It will help you in your journey. So we have a regular piano loaded up. And initially when I started playing here, one thing that you got to keep in mind is that my velocity comes in here on my systems, both, whether I'm using Reason or MPC big ups, Reason big ups. If I'm using either way, when I play, the velocity is going to come in at 127 or so. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, if you think about that on a real piano, people aren't just banging on the piano, and that's essentially what you're doing with your synthesized piano here. So let's get into it. I'm peaking at about 10 or 12, so let's drop this down a little bit and see where I'm at now. Now I'm closer to that minus 18. It's a great starting point for me. Peaking around 15, that's a hard push, so we'll leave it there. It's going to be just fine. I'm at 8 bars at 140 beats per minute, okay? And we're going to run a simple line, couple of chords. We're going to try to also envision where you're going to be at. So I'm going to be over here in this low to mid and upper mid area, and I'm going to use my sustain pedal. My sustain pedal will also bring me in at 127 BPM. But 127 is the velocity of my sustain. So what we're going to do here is play the line and then go back through and really fastly take care of all these problems. Okay, so this one drops automatically because I was holding on to it really closely. So let's take a listen to what we got. Here, I'll make this larger for you. So there's initially a whole lot of ringing. So what I want to do first is clean up my sustain. Mark my exact spots. I probably wanted to ring out right here where these chords are, not afterwards like that. So let's take a look. Otherwise, you end up with like just a ton of ringing in there, you know? And that ringing is going to be so hard to deal with later. It's just going to be, honestly, clashing frequencies. And you're not going to want to deal with a whole lot of clashing frequencies when you're trying to EQ. So you want to clean those up first. And that's for sure. You know, otherwise, you go to clean them up later, it'll never really work. So now let's take a look at our velocity. You see this was all the way up full as well. So we'll look up here, check our velocity. What happened there? My sustain was off a little bit. Let's pull this up. I'll pull it to 66. And let's drop it here before the next measure will ring out. It's awesome, okay? So now we'll get in here, and I don't want to pound these chords. Let's check this out. We're 123 on the velocity there. That's like taking your hand and just pounding it on a real piano. You don't want to pound on a real piano. A lot of times you're going to try to play it as soft as you possibly can, honestly. And it still won't be soft enough. I played a lot of piano growing up. And one thing I wasn't doing was just banging on it. That's for sure. And sometimes it's something you want to do, but other times it's not. So we're going to drop this velocity down quite a bit. Now we're going to pull up our meter, right? And so our level dropped so much, you know, so now we're at minus 27, and that's exactly what's supposed to happen, okay? Now if you want that hard piano sound, go for it, all you want to, okay? But if you adjust your velocity, if you adjust your sustain, and pull that down, then you'll get a much softer, nicer sounding piano. You know, if you want it to be hard and come in at 127 dB or 127 on your velocity, then by all means go for it. And so one thing I'm a fan of is actually using presets, okay, to get my mix to sit kind of where I want it to prior to moving on. So I use the Neutron 3. I like this Neutron 3 Elements. It actually does everything I need. I have lots of tools, but I really like this one. Neutron, big ups, really like your products. That's awesome. You haven't checked them out, check them out. I'm sure you can get trials, or you can get some free products by purchasing something for cheap from a place called Plug-in Boutique. So they offer some free stuff there. So let's go into keys, pull the electric. Where I'm at, I want to put this B3 Enhance, pull it down just a little bit. The vocals may sit there, right? And this is a good spot to be just to start, okay? So before I move on to what I'm going to do next in my mix, this is exactly where I'm going to start at. I'm going to put it somewhere where I want it to sit. I'm going to adjust the level so that it's not just pounding out. I'm going to adjust the sustain so it's not having my frequencies just ringing out there in open space, you know. And later on, when I get everything else to sit where I want it to, then I'll pull that in, right? Most likely I'll end up saturating this and adding a little bit of drive to it, you know, doubling up the lines, panning them out, and doing a whole lot of other things to that, but we'll get into that in another video. Hope this was useful for you. Please like the video, subscribe, hit that button, just subscribe. Got a lot more videos, quick tips coming to you soon. Take care.